Welcome to Page Turners, a weekly bookish podcast for every kind of reader. Whether you want to explore a variety of genres, tick books off your growing TBR, or simply skip the reading for book club, we've got you covered. That's Liv.
And that's Amy.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Still trying to make anything but hello happen. I want it to be a bit mysterious and be like, oh, it's a throwback episode.
It is a throwback. It's like that harp music that you see in like old sitcoms.
That would have been perfect. And I wish
Maybe we can find it.
maybe. It also feels like what it felt to read it back then. Back then.
But yeah, our editing doesn't stretch that far, so we'll just do it. We'll just do it vocally, and that's about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's a throwback episode. How exciting. Throwback Thursday. It is a Thursday.
It is a Thursday. Oh, it's always nice to revive dead Instagram trends, isn't it?
Absolutely. Bringing it back. Throwing it back, some might say.
You stop it right now. Our numbers have been dire the last 2 weeks. People don't need an excuse to turn off.
No, they do not. I couldn't. Anyway, I was going to check that before I came on, and I thought I'm already in a bad mood, so I won't bother. Leave that bit out.
Now I don't even need to ask you how you are. In a bad mood, yeah.
In a bad mood, yeah. So who knows how that will translate to the pod. Maybe it will be the best pod we've ever done. Maybe I'll just be fuming the whole time. It's a good book to discuss with that mindset, I feel.
Yeah. Well, anyway, book news. Anything happening?
A little bit of Twilight related bookish news.
Oh.
Waterstones has released a little sneaky peeky today, hinting at some Twilight related announcement coming soon. So it might have already been announced, but they definitely teased it a few hours ago.
20th anniversary edition, maybe? No,
Could be.
I mean, if this is what it is, it's got sprayed edges, and the sprayed edges say, "And so the lion fell in love with the lamb," which is possibly my least favorite quote from the whole fucking thing.
But that's what all the merch was, wasn't it?
Because then it's like, what a sick masochistic lion. It's like, what a stupid lamb. And it's like, apparently the end page is a sort of, oh, you can't see because of this fake back.
I can't see. But was that today? Because if it was, then that's likely what it is.
I haven't seen if this is today on the socials, but I have seen that this is published on the 30th of September 2025. So maybe
it could well be. How appropriate though, talking about Twilight on a throwback episode.
I'd say it's almost like we planned it, but we didn't. So
we didn't. We rarely do.
Yeah.
And we'll take it. Have you got any other news?
I mean, I've got a book called The Salt Path, which is apparently it was a big memoir, and then it was turned into a film with Jason Isaacs and Gillian Anderson in 2024. But the book itself, written by, Marianne Elliott. Nope, that was the director. The book was written by Raina Wynn. It's a 2018 memoir. Oh, yes. People are Googling it now. I recognize that cover so much from like all the awards or the table in Waterstones. It's like, oh, award table, which I avoid like the plague. But, it was written as like a sort of a real-time rags to riches about this couple that lost it was basically like we lost our home after a bad investment, and her husband had a disease, and they decided to walk the salt path, which is the southwest coast path, and it's like a 630-mile walk or something. But now it's come to light that instead of bad investments or being like having it stolen that left them down on their luck, they stole £64,000 from her employer. A whole thing of her husband having CBD, I think it was, corticobasal degeneration is under dispute now.
Oh.
And they've come back denying those claims, and so who knows?
And you were saying it's like kind of kicking off. So has this recently came to light, or has this been ongoing?
No, this has recently come to light. It's come to light
Right, okay.
this month that they didn't lose their money from a bad luck investment or whatever. Apparently they stole it from an employer. So
So
that
more could come out then. Like, if
yes,
they're denying the claims, they could provide some kind of evidence, maybe.
maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd
Hmm.
say no, stay tuned, but
We'll probably never mention it again.
never again.
But anyway, it's out there now. We've discussed it. What are you reading currently?
I'm sort of spoiling this for ourselves, but I'm reading the sequel to the book we're reading this week.
Oh, that's a good sign. A sign that you wanted to read the sequel because you had a fun time. No, okay.
It's not that I didn't have a fun time or I had a fun time. I can't speculate on either. I think it's because we spoke last week about how we both read this when we were younger. We both loved it when we were younger, and we just need both of us, funnily enough, have no idea how it ends. Like even having read it, I still
It's
don't.
weird though, because when I was reading this one, which we'll come in a minute, I remembered it instantly.
Yep, 100%. I clearly have reread this book many times when I was young.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I almost felt like I was about to quote the next bit or like, whatever.
Yeah, I totally knew it was coming. I was like, oh yeah, they're going there now, going speaking
Mhm.
to this person. Like, yeah, totally knew it was happening.
Yeah,
Mm,
weird, weird.
mm.
Sorry, Amy, what are you reading?
False Witness by Karen Slaughter.
Ah, well, for those four of you that listened to the Karen Slaughter episode, Amy's clearly taking her Karen Slaughter craze to a whole other level.
It's happening. It's happening again. The infatuation has very well and truly begun. Yeah, this is good. This has one of the most shocking opening chapters to a book I've ever read, done so well. Even if you don't read the book, just read the opening chapter of this book. I think
Okay.
if you get it on like a sample ebook, you can read it. But it's like I was. Ugh.
And on that note, Amy, what have we read for our throwback episode this week?
We have read a book that I think it's safe to say we both absolutely loved when we were younger. Uglies by Scott Westerfeld.
Yay! Trigger warnings.
Mhm.
I
Good
wonder.
old triggerwarningdatabase.com. Okay, so a slur is used. There's ableist language in here.
It
Disordered
is.
eating, self-harm, body image.
I would say cosmetic surgery. There's
Yeah, yeah.
quite a lot of references. You don't see anything happen like
I guess medical stuff generally, because there's mentions of like
mm,
brain lesions and scans and surgery and stuff like that. I thought this book ended sooner than it did.
oh,
Like,
interesting.
I thought a part of this story was actually in the next one, and then I was
Oh,
surprised when it kept going.
oh well.
So, yeah, it was
Maybe
a bit longer than I thought it was.
we can discuss that. Count me down.
Let's go. Three, two, one, go.
Tally Youngblood is an ugly, a few months from her 16th birthday and waiting to become pretty. Separated by a bridge and heavily patrolled guards is Pretty Town, where her best friend Paris has already had the extreme cosmetic operation and is living a totally bubbly, carefree life of constant parties. The process of becoming pretty has been introduced by the government to solve the problems caused by humanity previously. They were referred to as Rusties, and the remnants of their world lies discarded. After sneaking over to see Paris and causing a ruckus, Tally meets Shay, an ugly who says she might not want to be pretty. Shay takes Tally to the ruins in search of David, a leader of the Smoke, uglies who have remained ugly and live outside of society. But Shay tells Tally that she's leaving, but Tally wants to be pretty, and so she stays. Dr. Cable, a frighteningly altered special, stops Tally's procedure and tells her to bring back Shay and alert them to the location of the smoke, or never be pretty. She makes the journey, falls in love with David, and finds out the truth about the procedure, that lesions in the brain make you compliant as well as beautiful. David's parents, who were once pretty scientists in charge of the procedure and found a way to reverse it, tell Tally everything. Tally destroys the transmitter she's been given in defiance, but only to set it off and bring Dr. Cable et al. To the smoke. Everyone except her and David are captured and they break into Pretty pretty town to rescue everyone, only to find that his dad has been killed and Shay is now pretty. They escape, and Tally reveals she is the traitor, much to David's disgust. David's mum has found the cure for the brain lesions, but won't give them to Shay because she can't fully consent. So Tally resolves to give herself up to be turned pretty, fully consenting beforehand in writing to test run a cure when they come and rescue her in book 2.
1 minute 35.
That's better than I thought it was going to be.
It's not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, let's do first impressions a bit differently. Can you remember your first impressions of this book way, way back when?
I was completely obsessed with it way, way back then. Like, it was so original, like so, oh my God, this is such a cool idea. Like, I think as well, and I'm gonna get a little sad to begin with. Like as a young girl, I don't even know what year are we talking again? 2005? 2005. So I was 12 years old, and I definitely considered myself an ugly. Um,
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say actually when you were reading it, I was thinking that I was like, I actually like you're probably listening to it now and thinking like, oh, this is so vapid and surface level, like all she wants to do is be pretty. But when you think about the fact that she's a 16-year-old who just wants to be like everybody else, that really hit home when you were also a teenager reading this book.
that is my overarching theme, I think.
Mhm.
It's very clearly written for a very certain
Yes.
demographic.
Very of the time, I think,
Mm,
as well, and
yeah,
how things were seen at the time, perhaps healthy. Like there was like that impression that this is actually like quite a progressive way of thinking back in 2005. Not so
yeah,
much now.
yeah, essentially. Well, what did you think? What did young little Amy think?
Loved it. Loved dystopian stuff as a kid.
Mm,
Really ate that up. And I remember this just, I think actually they were all published when I found them, apart from maybe the fourth one. Extras, right? Well, the first three were definitely out when I found it. And
mm.
I think I read them like back to back, like I really, really loved the world and thought it was great. What was
Well,
your first impressions this time around?
um,
Like your first impressions though, like chapter one, you're getting into the series, you've not read it in a long time.
that it was so fucking juvenile. The first line, the early summer sky was the color of cat vomit, to which I
I
put an
know.
being like diary of 12-year-old me.
I know. I was like, what wait, is that what we're trying to do there? What we're trying to do there?
It did not give. If I hadn't known that the rest of the story was going to be like dystopian and kind of cool and stuff, I'd have just been floundering. Yeah, I'd have shut that damn book.
Yeah. I take it like young me just thought that was the height of comedy. Like, what an opening line. You've got me. I'm in. I don't know. Yeah, it was such a strange opening line to a story.
And
So strange.
also weird, and I don't know if you felt this, despite being written in third person, felt like it was being written in first,
Yeah, no, I get that. I know exactly what you mean by that.
which is not a good thing.
No, no.
No.
Thing is, the first page even had an interesting concept because we instantly get introduced to the technology of the time when she sneaks out of her room and tricks the house or the bed or whatever it is into believing that she is in it by like using like a heater or something like that to mimic like body heat.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool idea. What we talking about the cat sick for?
What focus about the cat? Oh, yeah. But to be fair, I felt like that all the way through. Like, Tally was either so switched on or so fucking stupid.
So stupid in places. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've got the cat sick one, and then 2 pages later, you've got Tally knew the trick for decoding the random looking numbers at the bottom of a ping. I've just put, okay, like, all right, hacker
Cool.
girl. Like, yeah, yeah, cool. Could you argue that, yes, everything's pretty surface level, but could you argue it's written that way? Because they've not been taught to think deeper, and is it meant to be like this? I don't think so. I suspect it was sort of like phoned. This sounds really harsh. The concept's clever, and I really, really would like to read the concept written by Veronica Roth. But
Yes, I think it could be done really well, even if it was done more like adult, like new adult maybe, which I know wasn't really a genre at the time, but this was very young adult, young.
Yeah, so young. It just felt like it was phoned in to like get on the craze of the dystopian wave, and it would be
Hmm.
really interesting to see where it comes in that sort of like line or timeline of it. Like if it was one of the first, then oh, fair enough, cool. But if I suspect it wasn't.
I don't think it was, but there was definitely a craze of lesser known dystopian books at that
Mm.
time, which I think it kind of bled into those.
Somebody in the reviews mentioned Delirium.
I love Delirium, yeah, where they made love illegal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, bet you it's shit now, but I did like it at the time.
This is it. This is it. I can't go back now. There's so many that I want to go back and read, but I can't now. I can't.
No. I had high hopes for this one because it was adapted fairly recently, and I thought, oh, well, maybe there is something in that then. Why would that be picked up over, say, any other book that's been written?
I will tell you exactly why.
Oh,
Because Scott Westerfeld, in the last 3 years, has written a spin-off series called Imposters that brings back Tally in the third or fourth one. And it deals
hey.
with sort of the world post-rebellion and how not all of the worlds have been revolutionized.
Okay.
Again, a really interesting concept that I actually think I'd be interested to read because it's been published more modern. I like to think we have a higher standard, but I know we don't based on some of the books we've read this year.
I
But
think perhaps publishers, in some cases, not all, maybe believe that young audiences can handle more than perhaps was expected of them at the time.
that was beautifully put, and I saw you get there. So
Yes. Yeah, like a little bit more credit, I think, is given nowadays, whereas we were obviously just seen as like absolute idiots.
yeah. What did I write? I said, and now looking and reading it back, I feel I wish I hadn't. And young me really just clearly enjoyed books for the lols. I miss her. Like,
No, so innocent. I know. Oh, it's sad because a lot of it did spark real nostalgia in me. Like straight away, I was like, "Oh, the bungee jacket's going to go on in a minute," and she's going to like. I just knew it was all coming. And then the rusty ruins and the roller coaster. I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're getting it all." But it
I
was a
just
fucking struggle to get through it.
I couldn't get over. Normally in books, there are rules of like, this is the technology, and then these are
Hmm.
the limits of that technology. There were just no limits to this technology. They could have whatever they wanted to get them
Hmm.
out of this hijinks or whatever.
Hmm.
And it also, I'm sorry to just completely fuck this off and go straight to it. Tally, why would you destroy? I remember thinking about this. I don't know if I even thought about it when I read it the first time, but why would you fucking destroy the tracker? Why wouldn't you just hide it somewhere?
I
Because
don't know.
of course, if there's gonna be a failsafe,
Yeah.
you stupid cunt.
I didn't know that at the time. I definitely didn't pick that up when I was younger, but this time I instantly was like, oh no, I remember what she does. Idiot. But I had no expectations of Tally at this point, so that was fine for me to just accept she would do something like that because she just is an idiot.
You're such an idiot. That's
And
what I
not
was.
consistently, as you were saying, like not
Oh.
consistently at all.
We sort of jumped around quite a lot because there's quite a lot wrong with this book. Setting wise, how did you feel? Did you feel immersed?
In a way, it kind of did feel just like here's Ugly Town with the Ugballs, and here's Prettyville, like, and then question mark, question mark, question mark. But I feel like maybe that was done deliberately because we are supposed to be quite insular as a society and not really know what's going on outside it, and that's very much the control of that system, isn't it? So maybe it becomes clearer in pretties and specials. I don't remember specials telling me anything of any sense because I remember it just being a complete nightmare to get through it. But I didn't even understand really why people originally decided to get the pretty surgery. I assume it was just like they wanted to be good looking, lol.
Well,
Like, I,
this is it. So what I really would have wanted is, sorry to bring it all back to Suzanne Collins again, but Suzanne at the very least gives us a reason as to why we're in this scenario,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
and
And
why
you can buy it and you can see it coming.
people tolerate it and why, why
Hmm.
have just such a weird one for a society that doesn't oppress anyone really, because ultimately, even if they oppressed yeah, sure, you could argue they oppress the uglies, but then those uglies become pretties. So they do become privileged in that sense. But it's sort of just
Why
like,
when they're 16 as well? Did I miss that?
no, you didn't. You didn't miss that. I wonder whether it's something
Because
to do with like development.
maybe I thought, is it to do with the brain? Because obviously the big twist is that the pretty surgery isn't just all about making you pretty. It's creates brain lesions that are then able to make you easier to control. And like you're placid and you don't want to be rebellious and you don't want to take over land.
Yeah, but actually, not all of those pretties get brain lesions. Only the ones that don't have jobs that are like needed for quick thinking, apparently.
Yeah,
So,
yes. So if you need to do something skilled, then you don't get the lesions because those sort of dampen down your ability to think critically,
so
maybe.
why do they not rise up? And I suppose you get the idea. So with David's parents, they were pretties who, let's assume
Mhm.
they just went through the process at 16 themselves. Then they became doctors. Surely, though, if they were training or when no pretty in this current society that we get introduced to strikes me as the kind of person that would want to train to be a doctor or a scientist or whatever.
No.
So how do you get from there to like partying and stuff like that to really then the what they call middle pretties, who they sort of gradually let whatever is in the face cosmetic surgery wise soften so that it's like a sort of a it's a natural cosmetic aging process.
Hmm.
They're still lush, but they just look older. Um,
Yeah, you're totally right. What would be your reasoning to do anything other than just party and chill out in Prettyville and piss about and drink and have a good time? Why would you start to think, oh, I better start working as a doctor, I better start working as this or that? Like, where's the reason to do
Especially
that?
considering there's no mention of currency or anything like
None,
that. Like
none. I assume they were the haves and the uglies are the have-nots, but then that was never really tr
well,
that clear either.
that makes no, yeah, that was definitely confused because Tally's parents are pretty and
Mhm.
they had her. So are parents then just give up their children because their children are
This
ugly?
is what I wrote down. When do the parents send their kids to Uglyville, which is not called that, but I can't remember what it is called. But when do they do that? Is it from like day dot and then they get looked after by like other uglies? No, because they're all presumably under 16. So how would that work?
I'm wondering because I'm now thinking about a bit that I read, Uglyville, as we're just going to coin it now. I think
That's it now.
it is something like that though. It is
Something
just
like that.
it's like Uglyville, Ugly Town or whatever. I think it felt like school vibes, like it was trying to give off boarding.
Ah,
So maybe they
okay.
send her at like 11 or 12
And then she just does her kind of high school years, her formative years, and then she becomes
because
16.
then
Yeah.
she mentions having lived in like middle pretty town,
Hmm.
which clearly just sounds like the burbs, like the suburbs.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like kind of like, yeah, whatever. I
Um,
just didn't get why the parents would subscribe to this way of thinking either and just let their kids live away from them. And then when she said to her mum and dad, like, oh, can I move back in with you then? I've not had the surgery, but can I move back with you? They were like, oh, no, yuck. Like, okay, obviously they've had the surgery. They don't have skilled jobs, so they
not
don't
that I know
critically
of.
think.
Yeah.
No, so they've no empathy for anyone.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not gonna say it. Well, I am gonna say it. I'm like 70% of the way through Pretties, and I have not mentioned they've not mentioned Tally's parents. Like you've never seen them again.
oh, I don't know if they come back into it, actually. That's a good point. I can't remember much more about them.
What was really needed, and I'm not necessarily saying that Scott Westerfeld should write this book or another book ever again, but I just want to know how people fucking went along with it. At what point did we go from the Rusties have destroyed the world to some sort of emergency government that then goes, oh, do you know what we'll do? To stop infighting and war and all this shit, we'll just do this sort of in. I would like to know about this massive medical company that's clearly been farting about with a eugenics-based type cosmetic
Yeah.
equipment and stuff like that, and they're clearly
Yeah.
and I want to hear about them buying up and then like, you know, bribing senators, and then inevitably when the government goes down, they take over under a sort of new management slash
Hmm.
government bought type thing. And
Yeah.
then that's how it becomes. But we get none of that.
We get none of that. I mean, we can't always compare it to Hunger Games, but that is the heart of dystopian writing. Surely, how did we get from what we know now to what this new regime looks like? What has happened in between times? And I think that it's all about as well, could that ever happen to us? That's the fear. It's like the Hunger Games, you never really find out how long ago it was, and that's the scary, creeping dread of what if this one day becomes reality. This is never happening.
Yeah, exactly. We have no realistic or cohesive narrative that takes us now to 300 years in the future when it's meant to be set. And it's clearly America. Like,
Yeah.
I know Hunger Games, it has elements of America, like they talk about Appalachia and they talk about like, you know, but this, even without talking about it, wait, do they talk about San Francisco? Or am I just completely fucking
They
making that?
may do they?
And maybe I'm just making it up.
I don't know. I was kind of trying to see if there were any kind of clues, culturally. And it just made me laugh that she kept eating spaghetti bolognese. It
Honest.
feels like such a little like that time, like that audience, like tea. Like if you were having tea at home when you were in your teens, you would be having spag bol.
Mm, that's another thing. I have never heard it called spag bol in America.
No, that's what I'm thinking. So like I did think it was America, but when there was like little things like that, I thought, oh, maybe not actually.
Yeah, no, he's American. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe just likes it.
Maybe he just loves spag bol. God,
Maybe.
honestly, it felt like that whole section of just that was just so cringe of just like, not spag bol again. And then it was like
I
laugh
know.
track, pause for laugh track.
I know. There was so much of that. It was really like slapstick at points in the story. You're asking me about the setting, and it's funny because I remember finding it so much more impactful when I read it when I was younger, especially when they go to like the rusty ruins and it's like a roller coaster, and then they see the track and they're like, what is that? Because they don't know what trains are. And I think I can see why that would appeal to a younger audience. Probably not now, though. I think that people are a lot more like street smart and switched on and exposed to more
Mm.
like than we maybe necessarily were.
Yeah, I can see as a kid, sort of like, because he gave them this sort of naivety. I don't even know what trains are. It gave almost the reader as a child the upper hand to be like, oh, I know what trains are. You're so stupid,
Hmm.
sort of thing.
Idiot.
I have two major points that I would like to talk about. The first one being Tally and David's relationship.
Ah, that's not my main man, is it? Who is it? It's not David. There's someone else in Pretties or Specials that
Zane.
she's Zane. That's cool. That's who it is.
He is
David.
Zane is really interesting. So I was sorry, this is Pretty's chat now. But it's fine. Amy and I haven't spoken about this. We were intending to do Pretty specials in another episode, but I don't think we're gonna do it.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
no.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Fuck that. But but if we leak into Pretty's, sorry guys,
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen.
I'm fine with it.
So Zane, basically, at the end of the novel, Tally becomes pretty, and then we meet her at the beginning of Pretties. She's so bubbly, like Tally Wah and Shay Wah.
Oh
Like, oh,
God, wow.
honestly, it's fucking killing me. It's why I haven't finished
Mm.
Pretties yet. Anyway, so yeah, she's in Pretty Town. There's this boy, Zane, and he's like the way she describes him is sort of terrifying and sort of Cardan because he's dark haired,
Oh,
angular, very sharp jawed,
sharp.
but but it feels less like Cardan, more like manufactured or reject or recalled Kendall.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Too
Um,
angular, like spiky.
like that guy
Mm.
that paid to have all that plastic surgery to look like Ken, and he looks like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, it's not exactly giving fit boy, but if you
No.
forget about that, it's not bad. He and they take the cure together. There's two pills. And for some reason, he's sort of broken out of his like sometimes when he feels bubbly, which I don't know, I think it means like excited or like an adrenaline rush or something. And they try to pretend that it's
Mm.
something to do with the brain chemistry. Um, he can have critical thinking and he's like a rebel and he's been thinking
It's
about it.
convenient.
Yeah, and yeah, Tally gets given two pills by a smoky who gets into the pretty town, and they decide to take one each.
Why is he into it? Because he has this critical thinking. But even with the critical thinking, does he know about
Yeah,
like the
she tell
lesions and
she
everything?
tells him everything.
How
She,
does she feel like that though? Because she's surely like pretty at the time and just like la 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 la, having a great
well,
time.
I think she sort of forgets, and then she sort of
Mm.
remembers. I don't know. They kiss and something. I don't know.
Oh. That's probably enough for young me, to be fair. Once that happened, I'd have been like, yeah, whatever, get it, fine, good.
Yeah. Sorry. So going back to Tally and David, it's like she
Oh,
gets to the
David.
smoke and Shay is there with David and they're holding hands. And it's like, oh, cool, right? Shay and David are in a relationship. Okay. And then, I mean, there is not a real timeline, but what feels like a matter of days,
Days. That could be generous.
Tally sort of like refers to the smoke as her home, which made me go, and
I'm
then
down tally. Mhm.
and yeah, and then basically her and Dave like he breaks it off with Shay or something, and then her and David get together.
I don't
And
even feel like he does break it off with Shay. He just gives Tally the gloves to
oh
like
yeah.
protect her little hands. And then he takes her to visit to meet his mum and dad. And then it's alluded to that he's never taken anyone else to meet his parents. So obviously things between him and Shay were never that serious. Haha.
Which just, I mean, look, if we're gonna say do anything, this is the thing, this is the problem I have with it. It pits women against women of Tally and Shay. Like Shay's going after Tally for it. Blame David, he's clearly a fuckboy.
He's an
Like,
idiot. And also, Tally asks the question, do you think I'm prettier than her? Ooh,
mhm.
ooh, no, Scott. Don't put that in a book for young, impressionable teenagers.
Yeah, especially you were so close as well. You were so
Yeah.
close with the whole concept of the theme being that, oh, it turns out no one's ugly, everyone's pretty, you were already pretty, la 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 la. No, instead you have to pit young girls
Yeah.
against each other to get the
And
attentions of a man.
the thing is, Tally could have relapsed. She's been indoctrinated into this way of thinking for years, right? So she's kind of got a pass, kind of a. But then David's just like, yeah, you are. You've never fucking grown up in that society. You didn't even have that kind of brainwashing going on. You've never been part of all of it.
And I get it to some extent about like how he already sees her as beautiful because he's not like, but also he's never seen her fucking pretty. So, and they're like, but there's this thing all the way through that it clearly feels like it's more than looks, right? Like Tally is
Hmm.
mesmerized by the pretties when she goes and sees Perez
Hmm.
in the first chapter. Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
almost like they're almost sirens in a way. So there's something that is clearly they're so genetically modified to be perfect that people who are uggos
Yeah.
are like, oh, I'll do anything for you sort of thing. So,
I think it's like maybe supposed to be, I mean, and the science is never going to be there with Scott, but maybe it's meant to be something along the lines of the procedure makes you look just so like attractive to humans and what the kind of beauty standards are that you get treated better because you are more
mm,
attractive. You know how there's that whole study of like people who are more attractive get like people are politer to them, they smile more at them,
yeah,
like all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
I think he was trying to do something with that.
Well,
Totally didn't work.
yeah, they mentioned that everyone was judged, everyone judged everyone else based on their appearance. People who were taller got better jobs, and people even voted for some politicians just because they weren't quite as ugly as everybody else.
Right,
Like,
so he's got the basics, but when it comes to actually someone who could explore that more deeply, like David, who's never been exposed to praise before, it doesn't land.
it doesn't. And also, I feel like you could have maybe put something in there, like when she says, "Oh, well, as soon as you see a pretty, you'll say something,"
Hmm.
and he could say, "Oh, I've seen them. Like, obviously, I've seen them. We would sneak, blah 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 blah, whatever." Because
Hmm.
I ain't saying that the pretties are perfect, but David is clearly a deeply shallow fucking fuckboy. So
Absolutely.
as soon as Pretty Shay comes back, he's like, "Actually, Tally, sorry, and I'm gonna need those gloves back, babe." Like.
Oh no, move aside, I'll go. You're Shay.
Oh man.
Oh, he's just such a non-event of a character as well. I feel like he's only in there so that there's that tension and that like, oh no, I betrayed people. Like it's just to give Tally a reason to feel bad. But I feel like she had that with Shay already. David is really like inconsequential. You don't need him.
Let's do real talk for a second here. This is clearly a sapphic novel, but because it wasn't allowed to happen in 2005, that clearly Scott had to put in a fucking heterosexual romance for it to make sense, or for any of the plot to make fair. This is,
Exactly. Of
yep, it is clearly Tally and Shay. They're clearly,
course.
yeah,
The whole thing. And that would have been such a really interesting book. And actually, really, really, the end would have hit because she is pretty at the end, and it is because of what Tally did by throwing the fucking thing in the fire, idiot. Um, David, who cares what happens to David? But he tries to pull it back by being like, "Oh no, David's dad died." All right.
who cares?
Who cares?
And his mum tells him in the weirdest fucking way. She's like, well, he's like, well, we should go get dad. She's like, oh no, we don't, oh, it's not that he's beyond our help or something like that. Like, she
Mm.
says something, then she says he's beyond our help. And then it's like, no, David, he's dead. Like,
There's no reason to be ambiguous there. Just say what you mean.
yeah, absolutely. You are literally right in the middle of Pretty Town, about to get a fucking rescue, or you're in the midst of a rescue. Get out there and just like,
Hmm.
yeah, oh God, yeah.
I know. Yeah, David's a non-event. Don't care about David. Eh. And when he ran away at the end, I was like, oh, whatever. Don't worry about that. You'll
Yeah,
forget about him in 5 minutes when you get the procedure done anyway, so it's fine.
yeah. The mad thing about it as well is like I feel like this is my ultimate par of like supposed book boyfriends. David smells like 100.
Yeah, David smells. Smoky little David.
Even though he like sure, fine, they're sort of nomadic in a sense, not that the smoke moves, but like in they're a different society. They clearly don't have like luxuries and stuff. Sure, he doesn't smell like luxury soap, but even if David existed in Pretty Town, he'd be the boy that would make you listen to him, listen to his guitar, and he'd be like, he makes his own shoes for God's sake. What a
I
fucking
know, and how shit
loser.
would those shoes be? I
Oh,
just kept thinking about that.
they'd be made from like hemp or something.
Hessian shoe, so scratchy and uncomfortable. No thanks, David. I'm all right. I'm all right, pal. It's
And
fine.
he would clearly not use deodorant or be like,
No,
he'd use like natural deodorant, but like,
natural. He'd
but,
use like charcoal toothpaste.
and there's nothing
Mm.
like, I definitely think the natural deodorant market has come a long
I
way.
use wild,
I also use Wild Rep, hashtag page turners. You don't get
but
anything.
David would like rub a leaf on there. He's not
Yeah.
getting anything like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I smell like the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
thing is, this story clearly is centered quite heavily around a love triangle, and I forgot there was another like corner of a triangle. I thought it was a straight line from Tally to Zane, so David wasn't even part of my memory of this story.
I can remember with prees, basically they take the cure together. One takes one pill, even though they've both got to, even though one person has to take two pills, they decide because not only is this a fucking untested cure
Hmm.
that could kill either of them, she decides to then lessen the dosage.
Isn't it though that like one of the I can again we're going into like talking about another book now, but isn't it that they can't work in isolation? Like one of them can, but the other one by itself is actually like dangerous or something like that. I feel like there was something she did in the second book again where I was like, oh, classic Tally, stupid idea.
Classic Tally, fucking it up for the rest of us. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
probably.
doesn't Zane die because of it? I feel like
I,
that comes up later.
I'm on 70 odd percent. Zane's not well. They've gotten out of Pretty Town. I don't know if he's dead or not.
I'm
She,
telling you, I think you'll get a throwback to those pills. That's some foreshadowing by Scott.
I don't remember the bit that I'm reading now, and it's this weird thing.
Oh,
She's come on to like she's come across she's like crashed or something, and she's come across this.
again.
Oh, I know. She's come across this uncontacted tribe who are like, oh,
Oh.
they're like, oh, you're a god, and she's like, oh, am I a god? And she's so derogatory about these people.
Wow,
Um,
wow. And a
yeah,
book about being yourself and being an individual and community. Let's just get her to really shame these poor people.
yeah. And that comes on to my second point, which is just the casual dropping of the slur. It only happens once, and that is not me excusing it. That's me just being like, actually weird.
Why
Why?
have it at all? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
So they use the R word. Oh wait, do they? Is it in? Oh, I've got it in pretties here. Is it in uglies?
Oh, mm-hmm. Pretty sure it is. Unless they just got lazy and went, yeah.
I wonder whether the reason it's in the I can search it because it's in this book is because I've got an excerpt of pretties in the back. Anyway,
Oh, maybe that's what. In the series, I can't really get to grips with this, but in the series in general, the R word is used. And I
yes.
found a thread talking about that. And someone says, and this is not the opinion of Page Turner's podcast, that at the time, this was not considered a slur and did not have the same negative connotations as it does today, which I would argue that's not true.
Yes, I also would argue that's not true because it's always been a bad word. Like, it's always
Yeah,
been ableist.
yeah.
Like,
So, and the fact that they then published, because have they published the entire series again recently, or was it just the first book that they did so they could give it the Netflix cover?
I don't know.
Because it would be interesting. If it's not in Uglies, then it's definitely in the series, and I think it is in Uglies, but I'd be interested to see if in the newest version of it, would that word still be there? I'd imagine not. Like to think not.
Mm, yeah, I think I'd like to hope that they wouldn't. And I would never forgive it if it were used in a certain way, obviously. But like it's used, not only is it used once, it's also used in the stupidest way. They're talking about like outfits or something.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because if it had been used as an insult, then at least that would give you the sense that Scott Westerfeld has deliberately used it knowing it's negative and not using it as just everyday language, but actually using it to show that this character is not a nice character because of what they've done or what they've said.
100%. It's yeah. They thought of basically, they're trying to figure out what to wear to this pretty party. Thing is like criminals or something. And it's they thought of bandits, but they didn't know what any looked like. And in all the old bandit movies in the wall screen, the bad guys didn't look crim, just are.
Oh, yeah. So it's not even really being used there to
It's
make any kind of point. It's just
like
poor taste.
you could just say lame or
Yeah.
not scary or something that would make sure the only reason it's used is to be like, oh, well, they didn't dress like them.
It gives me like the old vibes when people use like homophobic language to mean like uncool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
which you just wouldn't see being used like that in a book.
No, it would be unacceptable now. And I understand what that person's saying in terms of the use of the word. Like it definitely wasn't okay back then, but it was more acceptable. Like it was never acceptable.
Yeah, but
Society
I
just
can,
let it happen.
yeah, I can see it getting past publishers if it was being used as an insult. So it was I can see, I mean, that's not, it shouldn't have been, but I can see them thinking, well, that character is not meant to be a good character. They use this language, it reflects poorly on them. But that kind of suggests that that's something that Scott Westerfeld would use in his own like vernacular, which is really that's like a whole new level.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't want to get into it. I just think that's something we have. Yeah, it's been used. It's shit. It's not great.
Yeah, and it's in, and we had to talk about it because if you're going to reread a book from the past in the present, then you need to talk about how things are no longer maybe appropriate or like things have changed. What's acceptable then is not acceptable now, etc.
Well, exactly. It's this weird thing of like early noughties films and their rampant homophobia. They clearly couldn't be racist anymore, so they decided to be absolute homophobes. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous. All these like teen movies and stuff like that that like it's things like John Tucker Must Die and think it's like such
or
good
yeah,
films that I used to
yeah,
love that just drop the F-bomb like it's absolutely no problem.
yeah. It's in like one of my all-time favorite films, like Bring It On. It's just in there.
Oh God, it is,
F-bombs
isn't
in there.
it?
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
hmm Between that and like rampant misogyny, it's just a great time watching all those films back again.
I wasn't including the rampant misogyny because it's still alive today. Ah! All right.
Yeah. Overall, I'm quite sad because I thought we would read the next two in the series and we would be excited to read them because we had like it was nice and nostalgic to read this one. Yeah, no, it was just a little bit shit.
Yeah, no, it was really disappointing. And on that note, I'm going into reviews.
Was hoping you might do that. Okay, go with the ones. People in our wavelength, let's hear them.
Okay, Tally is a brainwashed moron. Okay, she was raised to believe the ideology of her country, but she cannot think for herself. She wonders whether to betray the smoke, the rebellious uglies, and you know what helps her make the decision? A boy. Woohoo! Thank God he was there with his adorable crooked smile, his sweet kisses, and his handmade leather shoes. Otherwise, I really would have thought that she was an immoral bitch.
It's hilarious, isn't it? It just cheapens the whole point of Tally's character arc is that she goes from being completely on board with all of this, desperate to be a pretty, will do anything, will betray her own friends to get to do it, to at the end being a real active participant in the rebellion, kind of a. But why? Because of David.
Even when she's told that they change their way of thinking, it's not enough of a like shock for her. It's almost as
No,
if she's known this whole because obviously she goes and sees Perez first. I don't know how we're pronouncing it. She goes and sees him at the beginning of the book, and he's clearly very different to how he was. And it's almost as if she's like, yeah, no, I want to be pretty. I don't care what they do with my brain. I don't care. I just want to be pretty. I want to fit in. And that's a really interesting message that I would have liked to have seen followed through with.
I was going to say I would actually have had more time for her if she just committed to that. The fact that or like we're supposed to believe that she doesn't know that their brains are modified, although she's met people before and after the procedure, and they are, as you say, remarkably different and basically just do not give a shit about anything apart from partying. Well, you know that they're supposed to be compliant and accepting of that. So I think you're right. It would have been really interesting to explore that, even though she knows that it changes who you are as a person. She just doesn't care because she just wants to fit in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is such a, a sort of a more compelling narrative for society. Uh, there's a severe absence of creativity, like Uglies, Pretties, Littlies,
Oh yeah.
Uglyville. I kid you not, that's the name of the town the Uglies live in. Crazy, right? Like, at least try, my guy.
It was Uglyville.
It was Uglyville. Well done, you.
That's my ick of the week.
Oh,
My ick of the week is Crumblies. Are you okay?
that's old pretties,
Okay.
isn't it? Like,
Yeah. The vocabulary in this is tough. It's tough to get through.
it gets worse in praise. Like,
I
and I,
remember.
at the very least, I think I'm not forgiving it, but because they're pretty and they are vapid and they are like, whatever, I'm at least like, okay, it's meant to be fucking extra and like, ugh, but it's like tallywands.
Mm.
Yeah, it's awful.
Mm. I can see where that person is coming from in terms of lack of imagination. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit on the nose, just a little bit.
Scott Westerfeld was so lucky I lacked critical thinking skills when I was 12.
There we go. I feel like that sums it up.
Yeah, easy train to jump on, and like it could have been so much better.
It's a good concept. You can't take that away. It's a really interesting idea to explore. It was just done so surface level, and there was no real like attempt to make it believable.
No, agreed, agreed. How does it stop war and stop global warming and stop us destroying nature's resources?
The whole idea of why the Rusties sort of died off is oil question mark
Oh,
explosion something.
profit. There was something about orchids as well, wasn't there? Like this
Yeah,
genetic.
they were an invasive species. So I think that was to show that like you didn't like when Tally was sort of thinking like an ugly slash pretty, she thought that you couldn't utilize the resources because that's a rusty way of life that you cut down trees and you kill
Yeah.
species. But what she learns is that to be able to have like a prosperous life and to use the resources responsibly,
Mm.
this is another way, and that's what the Smokies do. So I think that's why she saw the flowers getting burnt and was like, "Oh my God."
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Oh God. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This book was awfully written. I have no idea why it is still published. However, this was a very creative idea and could have been way better if the characters had more personality and the dialogue and the romance, can I even call it that, were better. Thank God that the book is over and thank God I will never be picking it up again.
That sums that up. Yep. Okay, I'm interested in the 5 stars. Do you have when they were written?
Yes, so I did a mix of ones that had been read recently and then
Hmm.
ones that had been read like 2010 type time.
Okay. Okay,
I
great.
was I didn't want to go like too deep dive. But yeah, so those 1 stars, some of them were written a bit more modern, some of them were written back then. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted to do. I have one last 1 star. Uglies is all about uglies. The story is focused on an ugly with an ugly attitude. The plot is frivolously ugly, which is written in an ugly technique. All in all, it was ugly.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
don't,
fair.
yeah, yeah. Okay. On to the fives, on to the
Yes,
fives.
please. Hmm.
Hey. This one was written a while ago, 2007. The fact that it relates to other series that they enjoyed. They liked Tally. She's a quick thinker, afraid yet brave, resourceful and caring, faced with a choice no one at 16 would want to have to make.
Okay, interesting. And what other series did they mention that they liked that were similar then? Just
Reminded me a lot of Isabel Carmody's books, her heroines especially, and also Ellie from John Marsden's Tomorrow series. I haven't read
oh,
either of those.
no, I thought you were going to say like the big hitters, but no, I don't know.
No, but nice to have some other ones that I'll probably never read because I'm too scarred this to go back to
Yeah.
anything published around this time. Um,
Hmm.
another one from sort of way back when. The writing style is clear and descriptive without wasting words. The characters are deftly portrayed. While the themes and message of the book may not be subtle, nor are they meant to be, since we're talking about the structure of the world here, there are depths to the concept and nothing's black and white.
Mm.
And we are the Rusties in the book because that's what's left of our city are just rusty ruins. And I just felt
Yeah,
like,
we know.
we know, we know.
I don't think that's ever alluded to. I think that's very, very clear that that's who we are supposed to be.
A sort of a 5 star from 23. This is one of those books where you visualize a world in so many details and feel like you've lived there all your life.
Okay. I can
Um,
certainly visualize hoverboards because we never stop talking about them. But yeah.
True. I absolutely love this book with all my heart. A beautiful world forming, interesting scenario, great plot, and interesting characters.
It's an interesting concept, so I'll give them that. I can see why they might have high hopes for it to be dealt with better than it actually is. Maybe they won't feel the same way when they get to the end of specials. It's also long. Like it's way longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's about like just over 400 pages. It's so long now. You mention it. Yeah. Where did you think it ended?
When the specials came, I
Mm,
knew it was a cliffhanger, but I thought we got more at the start of Pretty's rather than her just going straight in for the procedure. I thought that, or like going into her just having had the procedure. I thought
yeah.
there was a bit more build up. I actually didn't know if we got that in the like linear narrative or if it was just like flashbacks to like how she got to that place. But then I remembered that we had to know about David's dad dying and Shay. So I was like, oh yeah, we still haven't read that bit yet. So yeah.
Sorry, review. I honestly can't be asked to read any other 5 star reviews.
No, just leave it. It's fine.
Um,
I feel like they're all going to be the same, like similar kind of themes.
I've actually just thought there's another thing I wanted to talk about, Shay's riddle. And I also want to speak about, and your face there.
Mhm.
I want to speak about why did Dr. Cable like, oh hi, the last line something like, oh my name's Tally Youngblood, as she walks into the Pretty's HQ or something, and she's like, my name's Tally Youngblood, make me pretty. At what point did Dr. Cable go, yeah, all right, fine, sorted. Yeah, no,
I
you
know.
definitely betrayed us, but I'm definitely going to trust you, and there's definitely not going to be an ulterior
Exactly.
motive here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason you might want to become a pretty just to take down the entire regime. That's not what's going to be happening here. Yeah, Dr. Cable's an idiot as well.
that's it. It's almost like blinded by her own hubris, but I just don't feel like she's written like that.
No, I think you're giving him too much credit there. I feel like it's just a quite a badly written bad character.
Yeah,
Like we don't really understand anything about her apart from Boo. She's bad, bad, bad.
the riddle from Shay. Like, yeah,
Do you
so
have it?
I I don't, but it's so fucking stupid.
No.
She says, "Oh, I wanted to write it in a way that only you'd be able to read it before she goes." And it's just so fucking stupid. The only bit I was sort of like, oh, the bit where you came off or something is the bit with the roller coaster. And Tally's there like, oh, what does this mean? Oh, no. Fucking hell,
I
Tally.
know.
And then another mentions like flowers for firebug eyes. And it's just like, oh
Mm.
yeah, just wander straight into that fucking orchid field. Like,
I know. And have the exact thing happen that she's referencing in the riddle. Like, what are the chances that they would be doing that at the exact time? Yeah, it's rubbish, rubbish, rubbish.
just before we go to final thoughts, I read the plot to the film and I would like to tell you what they change.
Oh, yes, please.
From what I can tell, they've tried to make the film more epic. So
Okay.
they make the pretty regime more aggressive.
That makes sense because then we can understand maybe why you would be attracted to it and you'd be too scared to go against it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They make the smoke bigger, so it's more of a violent organization. Apparently, Dr. Cable is the governor of the district, Tally's district, which is a little, I'm getting a little Hunger Games here.
Yeah, where'd you get that idea from?
Hmm. It simplifies the purpose of the pretty society and making it seem about resource control and less about environmental preservation.
I think that makes a lot of sense because I do think the environmental preservation element was very much like at the time quite like a big part of the conversation that was going on. And I do think that Scott potentially tried to utilize it
Mm,
in his story and maybe didn't really quite think about how it fits in the story and overcomplicated it a little bit. and then we just sort of lost the thread. So that does make sense, I think.
And as well is the movie actually actively shows the cities as trying to destroy nature.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The biggest one for me is that at the end of the sort of at the climax of the book when they're like when people come to the smoke to get them, Perez has been turned into a special, and his
Okay.
enhanced abilities, he kills David's dad.
Oh, that's interesting. So there's an element of conflict there.
And then when they do like the rescue or something, she tries to reason with Perez. Something starts, but then she has to kill him. She like throws him off of a building or something.
So a bit like kind of like being like hijacked and stuff in Hunger Games and yeah, like that kind of mind control element where you can like, I know you're in there. And then obviously
Mm.
she couldn't get it through to him, so kill him. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually sounds a bit better, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe we should watch it at some point.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Maybe that's telling because you would have thought, considering how much I said at the start of this episode that I enjoyed this series as a kid, you would have thought I would have watched the film before now.
I think it's been too long.
Mm,
It makes it makes me sound like a right conspiracy theorist, but also like, why are you bringing it now? What's the
I
point?
know. Why
Like,
now? Why now? Yeah. Is it just because of the Hunger Games, like popularity and stuff, maybe? But then,
very interesting.
I don't know.
Very interesting. Let's do final thoughts.
It was just a bit disappointing, wasn't it? For our
Yeah.
first throwback of the pod, it was not the one. I thought we were going to have a better time reading it. I did think it was maybe going to be a bit childish. I thought like some of it wasn't going to be as
Mm.
effective to us nowadays, but I thought we would still quite enjoy reading it and it would be like a nice, fun, nostalgic time.
I think that's why I've gone on to Pretties is because I just want to know. I just want to know if I get it now, if I understand what happens.
Yeah, I do remember Pretty's being my favourite of the three. So
Ooh.
maybe, but you're 70% in, and if it's still not great, then I think you've probably that ship has sailed.
They spend so long in Pretty Town.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I just like because I liked setting even then, and I like to get that insight. I think I just enjoyed getting to find out more about how Pretty Town operates. So that's probably why I liked it more.
fair,
Um,
fair.
but
And
yeah, Specials
obviously,
was not good. Mm.
yeah, well, that's it. I'm trying to figure out how it's going to end because I don't remember how it ends to go into specials. I know that Dr. Cable's offered Tally to become a special at some point, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then also, I'm like, why do you want Tally? She's fucking shit.
She's
Like,
shit. And she's got more reason than most to dislike you and want to go against what you're doing.
I don't know. Anyway,
Just kill her.
just kill her.
If it's on your TBR, no, don't read this. Read like The Hunger Games, Veronica Roth. Don't waste your time reading this. If you want dystopians, there's better options out there, even young adult ones, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hesitant to now tell you the ones that we loved when we were kids
I
because
know, because it might be shit.
the Chemical Garden trilogy by
Hmm.
Winter Someone, that was one of my faves, and I'm scared now. I don't want to read it.
Yeah, I like Matched. I think it was Ali Conde, possibly. She's in like a bubble, so if you'll probably know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
I'm really interested in
Again,
reading that. I'm really interested
oh
in
no,
that.
I really like that. This was like on the same. This was on par for me with Uglies. So like I would be scared to go back and read that because I bet my taste was just god awful.
Here's a more contemporary
Um,
one. If you
oh,
liked this, I'm not saying read this book, could see other series because it's better, but if you liked Uglies and you're thinking and screaming at us, being like, you guys have no taste, you shit, bleh," etc., you would enjoy the Selection series by Kiera Cass or Sierra.
yeah, but just I think that's like spicy, spicy, spicy,
N-
isn't it?
No, not that I remember. That's like it's like reality TV, but they're gonna become the
Oh,
princess. I don't remember it being
okay.
spicy, spicy.
That's fine then. But yeah, I do remember that book, but I thought it was maybe not. You might like Delirium. I have no idea if it became a trilogy. I assume it did. They all did. I think Delirium was maybe Lauren Roberts, perhaps, maybe. No, Lauren Roberts was someone else. That's what your face is telling me. Delirium is by
Lauren Oliver.
Lauren Oliver. There we go.
You can be
So,
forgiven for thinking that it was a Lauren and then a man name.
yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. I liked it, but I like this book, so don't trust what I say.
Yeah, look, I miss past Liv, who clearly thought this was a good book, but to be fair, she'd probably think that 32-year-old Liv is reading too critically.
Maybe. Have fun with it, for goodness sakes. No, that's not what we do here.
That's not what we do here. Our whole point is not to have fun.
Yeah. Even on a throwback novelty episode, we still picked it apart and we still didn't have a great time.
Yep. Yep.
Oh dear.
Lol. Next week, I suppose it's kind of fitting. This time last year, almost we sort of came back after our hiatus reading the Cruel Prince trilogy, and already those of you that are still listening, I doubt there's anyone, but will know that we are which books we're going to talk about. We will be doing 2 episodes on The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black.
I'm keen because I have yet to read them, and I don't know why.
Me
So
too.
maybe we need
Me
to
too.
work out why that is.
Yeah, it's an
Don't know.
interesting one. Like for a series in a universe we both love. Obviously, go and listen to our 2 episodes across the whole trilogy from last year. We just gush about it the whole fucking
Yeah.
time. I'd be really interested to see. I think maybe it's not terror, but like nervousness and anxiety because what if it's not as good?
I've heard mixed reviews. I think it depends what you expect when you go in. If you just want more of the world and more of Holly Black's lovely, like beautiful writing, then happy days. If you want Jude and Carden, you're not going to get that until later on in the second one, I think.
Okay, well, oh, can I not want both?
And that's our first throwback episode done. Will we ever do another one? Has this taught us that maybe we shouldn't? The edit will tell.
Who knows? Yeah. Well, join us next week for Stolen Air by Holly Black and see you soon.
Happy reading.